Riders ready, watch the gate.
Hey, welcome back to the Dirty Knobs podcast. I'm your host, Hollywood Mike Miranda, along with my co-host, JV James Vicente and EC Eric Carter. We are the Dirty Knobs. On this episode, which is very special, we have our friend Greg Hill. Woof, it's a doozy. Let me tell you one thing. If you are enjoying these podcasts, do me a favor. Stop, pause this thing, and go and subscribe to our podcast. Go to dirtyknobs.com and buy yourself a t-shirt, a hat. Man, we got all kinds of special things on there. So welcome back to the show. Enjoy the outtakes on the end. There is a special message. And we also have a new sponsor, Ultramax. You want to check out those commercials. They're doozies. Thanks again for supporting the show, for supporting us, and enjoy. Time for the show.
Oh, you took a shower.
Recording's already in progress.
I just put on as soon as you come in. Did you get a haircut?
You got a haircut, man. Look at you.
I know, it's crazy, huh?
They give you a bowl of soup with that?
They did. Oh, man.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
I know, it's crazy, huh? No more Sammy Hagar.
How does that feel, by the way, in the wind and everything?
Dude, I'm like 2 pounds lighter. I don't have that hay hanging off the side of my head. I can walk by the horses without them trying to eat.
You look a little new wave.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said cut it short but leave it looking a little longer. And that's what I got.
This is what he got.
Short.
This is
That's the international sign for leave it short,
yeah.
But make it look long.
Sir, how would you like that? Just give me the.
I just walk in like this. Good.
That's good.
Speaking
this is quality content right here. This is what our podcast is about. How to get your haircut.
Speaking of international signs.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Oh, look at both of you guys.
See?
Hold on, look at this.
You guys got a pair.
I'm going international.
Oh, you are.
I'm running both sides of the border on this one.
You are, dude. I love it.
They're going to fight each other.
Yeah. One of them's building the wall.
I love it.
That's terrible,
man.
What's the word, guys?
The word. Yeah, JV, what's the word, JV?
What's the word?
You're the smartest of the three. Thunderbird. What's the price?
Two bits twice.
Yes, sir.
Hey, JV.
Yo.
How's the old shoulder, bro?
I went to the doctor today and he said it's good. He said for a month and a half, you're doing okay.
Nice.
Here's what he said. If you didn't do anything, it would get better, but it might take a long time. You're doing things, you're going to therapy, you got the acupuncture, person that you like. And he's like, there's definitely improvement. I said, what about the feeling, like the numbness in the fingers? He said, it'll come back. He said, don't worry about it. It's just going to take a little time. But he said a month and a half.
Hey, it's not coming back.
Yes.
It's not coming back, dude.
I think what he said was that it'll come back, but I have 4 more payments on my new Mercedes. So come on back.
It's like your 9th grade girlfriend, dude. She ain't coming back. You guys split up. She ain't coming back, bro.
Oh,
man. Yeah, it was good though. He said, be careful, like you don't. I don't know. He didn't. My buddy Joe McRae doesn't think orthopedic doctors do anything. He's like,
did this guy fit you in between the poodle and the French?
He goes, what do you do? He goes, what? He goes, he didn't actually do anything, did he? And I go, well, kind of think of it. I just talked, and he goes, all right, good. Yeah, you're doing all right.
There you go.
Yeah.
You went
Good
to
job, man. Ready?
You didn't go to
break.
You went to a psychologist. That's what
That's
you
what
did.
she did, yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing if it's making you feel good.
Exactly.
Did he have the watch swinging in front of you? Like, oh, you will feel better. You will feel better. At the count of 10.
Hey,
You
this
were a
is what you
chicken.
got. This is what you got, JV. Hey, do this. Does that hurt? Yeah. Don't do that
Don't do it
anymore.
anymore.
You remember when you could only
Stop
do
doing that.
this?
Stop
But
doing that.
now you can do this. Yeah. Oh man. Well, JV, I think we got oh, there it is. I think we got a special one today, don't we?
We do. We do.
All right, JV,
Hey,
who do we got?
all right, bringing him in. Greg Hill.
The
I
Hillage.
mean,
It's the Hillage. Oh, look at this guy.
oh, where is he? Did he get it going?
I think he's out getting a haircut.
I was
Village.
trying to help him.
Hey, what's up?
There he goes.
All
All right, it worked.
I've never done Zoom. Well, earlier. With James.
Zooming, bro.
You're zooming, brother.
PC,
You're
What's
zooming.
going on, man? Dude,
Hillage.
look at you, man. Awesome. Great going, dude. Awesome.
I know. I got a little bit too,
Look at
man.
that, dude.
I think all
Covering
of
it
our
with the
I
mic.
think all of our
Yeah.
printers are running out of ink.
Yeah.
Experiences in life create that. Right on. This is cool.
This was brought on by kids, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can relate to that for sure. It's cool.
Well, and listen, our JV, can you introduce our guest?
Oh man, I mean, if it's for somebody growing up in BMX in the '80s, one of the most iconic riders of its time. Everyone looked up to you. I mean, we are honored to have you on board, Mr. Greg Hill. Thank you for coming on,
Appreciate it,
man.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Been checking you guys out, man. It's hard to watch without like laughing my ass off. It's great.
Then we're doing good.
Yeah, you're doing great. It's good stuff, man.
That's always our goal, man. You know, honestly, Greg, we laugh about it all the time. It doesn't matter if we have a guest on there or not. We just crack up. We just
Yeah,
crack up.
I don't think that you necessarily need one because I mean the energy you guys have is great. It's just funny. It's cool.
Well,
Yeah,
so
man.
far, I think that most of our guests have been friends, and tonight included. Tonight
That makes
included.
it easier, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Definitely.
about,
That's cool.
I mean, that's our whole goal with this was when we started was literally just to tell backstories and reminisce about the good
Right.
times that we had in the sport and kind of let people peek behind the curtain of
Yeah, that's
the fun
cool.
that we had. So it comes natural. We have a good time. We make
Right.
sure we have laughs and we just tell stories, man. I know
I
you've
think
seen
that's
it.
the coolest thing because, if you like all of us growing up and you read, we were there, but if the people are reading the magazines, they don't see all the cool stuff like the traveling, the rental cars, the BS, the shit that I don't really talk too much about laps with my buddies. We talk about the stupid crap that we did,
Right.
Great.
Right. You
the
don't
best
remember what place you got into third Main?
No, I don't know. Listen, I remember being on a bus. I don't know if it was in Paris or if it was at the Kellogg's. And I remember we were on a bus and Mike, dude, there was this old dude that was asleep in the aisle and he had his left elbow. He was kind of leaned over like this. His head was in the aisle. And you did a walk by crop dust. Like it was, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you remember that, dude, but it was unbelievable.
Oh,
They put like 15 of us riders on the bus with regular people to go where we were going.
that was Bercy France. I do remember that.
Oh my God. That's
Well-
great. You didn't even wake up, man. He didn't wake up. That's great.
He just took it. He took it right on the nose, didn't
Yeah, he took it big time to the point, like, you're remembering. I remember that. I don't really remember the race a whole lot, like
Right.
the laps
Well,
and shit. It's cool.
I don't know about you, man, but we have all done some shady stuff.
Oh
at
my
the
God.
BMX
Yeah,
races,
it's
and
just-
whether it's practical jokes, which I didn't know. I didn't know until John Cruz told me. I
Oh.
didn't know that you were such a practical joker.
He brought it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
John
When
Cruz
we
was
asked
crazy,
him,
dude. That
we
dude,
asked him who the funniest guy in BMX was, and he said you. And
We
I
like-
just
we shared the room, dude. And I mean, we had like stupid bets. This dude, we were at a McDonald's and we made this stupid bet, and he dropped his shorts and everything, man, and walked from one door right through McDonald's
The other side.
and out the other door with like nothing on. And it's like,
Yep.
you know, I don't know if, you know, it's probably a good thing if you've never seen him with clothes on, but this dude is like, he's like a horse, dude. He's like walking through this place, and I'm like, dude, are you serious? And that's before we were gonna eat, and then we ordered and ate there after he did that. It was
I
great.
love it.
He's
that was
so
before
funny,
food.
man.
Oh
That guy's
man.
Hey, I'm back. Can I get a Big Mac?
Yeah. And yeah,
Supersize,
he-
supersize that
up?
shit.
Yeah. Super
Supersize it.
Oh, shit.
when he
That's
said
excellent, man.
Greg Hill's the funniest guy, he put Captain Crunch in my bed.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. It's just
I just-
stupid.
We were what
You
got
know-
me was, dude, you were always so serious, man, and you were intimidating, and just just fact. It was just
I just
fact.
don't, I don't know, dude. I don't know how to explain it, but when I go to when the mind is there and you go to race, you're racing. But when you're spending 3 days or so someplace, and you can count the laps on one hand, and man, if you're just not able to get loose and just have some fun, man, you lose it, man. It's just, you gotta laugh,
And there's something to that, Greg. There's a balance, right?
Yeah, dude. I mean, like Tommy, as you know, Tommy Lee. Okay, this dude, we used to laugh so hard, and then we would just go out and try to ride each other off the track, as you, Mike, and
Right.
you did. You try to kill him on the track, but then you're laughing about shit later. It's
Right.
crazy.
So Greg,
Man.
so would you say, I mean, because I only saw you from, we don't know each other that well, but I'm just telling you from what I see.
Right.
I always saw you as a very serious, almost like serious guy during the races. And I don't know, it could be just the way that I saw you, or saw you at certain times, but would you say that that's correct? Like when you got to the track, you flick a switch and you're like super serious,
Yeah.
and then, yeah.
I mean, I had to learn how to do that. Not by choice. It's like, I'll give an example. The other couple of weeks ago, we were at Fullerton Bikes. They did this ride thing. We went and rode, and I swear I saw this dude in a wheelchair, and I'm like, that's Andy Zurzo, man. I've seen this guy for like 30 some years. And it turns out it was him. And I didn't know he grew up right down the road from me. So the point I'm making is, after 5 minutes of talking, he goes, hey, you remember F Troop? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah, dude, I remember F Troop. This was like we grew up in Santa Ana. This was like a massive gang. And
That was a gang.
so basically the switch comes from, you're just fighting it. I'm fighting every day, not because I think it's cool to fight, not because I'm trying to be Mr. Macho. It's like, dude, you are either going to get your face punched in, or you're going to learn how to fight.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of sort of how I just took it, like
Gotcha.
you get
You
to
put your game face on when you got
get
to the track.
You go into staging and you're like,
Yeah.
hey, it's time to get serious, and you flip the switch. It didn't always work, obviously, but it's what you try to do,
Hey, you know what I think, Greg? I think you were, of course, super determined and super focused. I think when you, a little bit later in your career, I think you were a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
But when you were on GT and the GHP time, and even before that with Redline and that, dude, I think you had a chip on your shoulder, and you wanted to prove to people that, like, what I read, because
Right.
I was that you had set goals for yourself,
Right.
and you were really determined to make that shit happen.
Yeah.
And
I
so
mean, that's
that's
pretty
what
much
you
the
need to
deal. I don't know. I mean, how you get older, you can see things way differently. You almost can see things really for what they were when you're younger. But
Right.
can't, I don't know how to explain the chip thing on my shoulder. I'm not arguing it. I'm just saying, I think, you know, what was really weird is that before I even got a couple months into racing, you know, my sister Tanya was already talking with Stu, right? And it's like, you know, so here you go and you find out about BMX and it's so awesome. And like we all rode in these fields and these dirt fields and probably none of us knew what racing was, right? And then that one moment happened and you go and it's like, oh shit, this is awesome. And then, so once my sister was dating Stu, that was cool. But then a couple years in, it's like, you know, I mean, like you're seeing this dude, it's like the best, right? He's like the guy, he's like the first, in my opinion, you know, you got David Clinton, who's like the first superstar, but he was regional. And then the first international BMX superstar, prove me wrong, but I think it's Stewart, you know?
Agreed.
Agreed.
He just was there, man. But this dude was at our dinner table like all the time, dude. And we're like having dinners together. And it's like, you know, it's awesome when you're younger. And then it's like all of a sudden you're 14 and you turn pro. And it's like, dude, this guy's at my dinner table. Like I love Stu. Okay. I love the guy, but it's like, well, screw this guy. And Stu's like Mr. Polite, Mr. Super nice. Dude, I don't ever remember him even getting mad at the track, but the dude was a freaking massive monster. And all he had to do is push on his pedals and he was gone. He didn't probably have to think about shit. He just was fast. And but that growing up in his, or coming into my own in his shadow was maybe the chip on the shoulder deal, you know?
Well, you know what, when in going back to with Stewart, you were, what were you, 13 when you turned pro?
Yeah, I was like
Incredible.
I was 14.
14, okay.
And
you were
Eric
14
pro.
years
Eric's
old.
like 6 months older than me, Roop.
Yeah,
so I turned pro, and then he turned pro like 4 or 5 months later.
Yeah, you were my point is you were 14 years old, and I don't care, you were not a big guy at 14 years old.
No, man.
I remember seeing you on the gate, and then I thinking, wow, that guy is really small compared to those other guys. And
I'm
then
like
when you get
125 pounds, dude, at 14.
and standing next to Stewart, who was at his age at that time, was gigantic.
It was massive, dude.
You was so massive, dude.
You had to have something on your mind or something extra motivation, because there's no way guys that size can compete with the guys that size, because he was gigantic.
I don't know. You know what is that when you see when you're in the shadow and you're you know, like there's a lot of things with Stu people don't know about. Like I went on tour on this guy. I don't know why my parents ever let me do this, but I went on the SC tour when I was 13. And Stu was just, when I was 13 and he was 19, I think, something like that. That's like major, dude. There's no 13-year-old kids hanging out with 19-year-olds in this world, you know? And so we would talk a little, but it would just be like, you know, we weren't hanging out, you know? And so one night we were at this hotel and everybody was doing their thing. And there was like me and this kid named Sean McEwen and Eddie King. And we were the youngers and we were hanging out. And I don't know who did it. I don't know how it happened, but all of a sudden one of them was like, yo, check this out. And they pulled out this joint and I'm like, oh, what's that, man? So we smoked. And 30 minutes later, we're in the parking lot riding. And then the guys that were in the other room across the way that were smoking and drinking and all that shit. And then Stewart pulls up next to me when nobody was around. He rides right up next to me, does just a ride by, and he whispers in my ear, I know what you did. And the next time you do that, I'm going to beat your ass. And then he rode off.
Perfect.
And that was amazing because I didn't get mad. I was like, wow, that was cool. Like, dude's like looking out for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't out you. He didn't out you in front of everybody. He didn't
say it in front of a bunch of people. He said it
the right
privately.
Yeah.
And so to go from that to grow into being on the gate racing with him and telling myself, I don't give a shit if I get 7th today. This bastard's getting 8th. Okay. You know what I mean? And not because I hated him.
Yeah,
no. I hated him. One thing I haven't mentioned, and my father, God rest his soul, but you know, he was, you know, if I was in the same moto with Stu, there was a point in time, and someone bumped me, and it wasn't Stu, but there was a point where Dad said, "Hey, you know, Stu did that," and it's like, So there was fuel for that.
You have to build rivalries. Rivalries drive you to be
Right.
a better person,
Exactly.
better racer. And
Right.
so that was the mountain you need to put it in front of yourself to climb.
Listen, I'm not listening to my cassette saying, I'm the lion, you're the chicken, I'm going to eat all these other, I'm not Kevin McNeil in it. But we're doing that, but not to his level.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it, man.
That's awesome.
You gotta have that, right?
Right.
Even when you're the fastest guy, you still have to find. You have to find it,
because the fastest guys don't always win.
Exactly.
More times than not, the fastest guy doesn't win.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
I couldn't help but notice you're wearing an orange. Is that for GHP colors?
No, I don't know what it is, man. It's like orange has been my favorite color forever. So like my family knows it. So when they get me sweaters or crap for Christmas or this and that, a lot of times it's orange. I just love orange for some reason.
So did you pick that? Well, let me back up. How did you start GHP? How and why?
Dude, it's okay. So,
I want to hear this.
This is just, I'm being truthful, and then nothing I say is anything like I'm not embellishing. So what happened was I rode for GT for about almost 3 years. So I talked to my father. At the time, he was doing Star Bars and he was doing Star Products, making frame and forks. And maybe I was somewhat naive to all this because I was just thinking about racing, right? The fact that there was 200 pair of Star Bars in our living room that we had to walk around to get into the kitchen and all this was like, should have made me understand more. But what happened was I told my dad, here's my situation. I got to go talk to Richard and I got to get a contract. And so my dad says to me, and this was in like May of 1983. So my dad says, if he does it, great. Just tell him you want a contract through the end of 1983, and that's it. And if he says no, then tell him to go, F himself. This was my dad. God love him, but that's my dad. So I'm like, all right, no pressure. I'm going to roll in and talk to Richard. So I go to talk to Richard. I'm sitting across the table from him. And I said, Richard, we're trying to buy a house. I need to show some verification of income. Can we do an agreement in writing? And he says, oh, that'd be great. So I'm like, oh, cool. So he goes, I'll tell you what, I'll make it one better. As I said, he always goes above. He says, here we are in May of 83. Why don't we take this thing back a little bit earlier than when we really started it? And let's take it through the end of 1984. Now, who wouldn't be totally stoked about that? Like, that is like a badass situation.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sitting there hearing my dad's words. And I said, Richard, unfortunately, I can't do that. And so Richard sits back in his chair and he goes, well, I know what you're gonna do, and I know what your dad is doing with Star Products, and you guys are gonna start your own thing. And he says to me, I love you like a son, but I'm gonna put you out of business. And that's how it's gonna go. You're gonna go out of business. Appreciate everything you've done for us. Love you like a son. Good luck to you. And I left. I went home. And a week later, we had a GHP frame, fork, and bars. And, before I knew it, I was going to look to Nashville to race the NBL Grands. And two and a half to almost 3 years later, I'm at GHP. And the guy Boris Dixon, was making our stuff, VDC, and he had sold his company. Bottom line is, this guy pulled up with 250 pair of handlebars to deliver to us, Star Bars. And the one side was this long, and the right side was this long.
Wow.
It was like,
man.
one side was 12 inches long and one side was 6 inches long. Awesome for like, say, left-hand turns or whatever. But I'm like, dude, what is this crap? And he's like, well, these are handlebars. I'm like, I don't know what those are, but we can't pay you for that. And that's what started happening. And then really was super awesome is I was out racing. My dad, I don't know what was going on, but my mom had 150 or 200 pair of GHP forks at home, and she stickered them, boxed them, and she shipped them all. But the thing she didn't notice is that the dropouts were all welded on backwards. So the fork had the rake, and then the dropouts were on the inside of the fork.
Oh.
and she didn't know, man. She doesn't ride.
Yeah.
She doesn't know. And so that was like, this is just, we're done, man. We're cooked. We got no backup for who's going to produce anything. And that's kind of why we shut it down. I spent probably at least 200 grand of my own money. I'm not complaining. It's cool, but I spent 200 grand of my own money on GHP, and I'm like, I think I'm done, dude. I'm not going to spend no more money. It's ridiculous.
Well, you certainly did a whole lot to get GT up to the next level from here to here. I
Yeah.
mean, you were such a dominant force, and you and it's not wasn't that you just dominated, it was the way that you did it. I mean, you just stomped people into the dirt.
I agree.
Well, aside from that pro open main at Chandler, this is awesome, dude. I gotta just say this.
Let me hear it.
I do not ever remember having beef with, I'm talking to the guys, with Mike. My intensity, and I'm cool with this, but my intensity, like I always heard, oh, that guy's a dick. Oh, that guy's an asshole, blah, blah. I don't care. I've heard it all, and it's cool because that's how it comes off, right? But so we were in Phoenix, and when back then it was like 100% payback. So like the double A pro class, we might have had 25 dudes, right? So there's your purse. And the A pro class had like freaking, I don't know, 10 racks. And then pro open had like, I don't even know how many. We had massive people. And so we raced pro open with double A pro and A pro. And sure as shit, the gate drops and I'm having an unbelievable day. And I can't swear on this shit.
Sure, you can.
Yeah, you can.
I'm going to the first turn and I'm looking at Hollywood, Mike Miranda in front of me, just killing us. And we got to the finish line and he turns around and he turned around and he said, "Hey, do you respect me now?" And I was just like, and that's why I messaged you, because, you're young and you're like, that's like winning the Monopoly game. And then someone's like, let's play again. No, I'm good. I'm good. We're cool. Peace out. We're done.
Let me just say this. You were my Stu Thompson.
Oh my God.
You were the guy when there were 6 other guys in the gate that I really didn't care about. Then there was Greg Hill.
Yeah.
And listen, I didn't know who had what lane, but I always knew what lane you were in.
That's crazy.
And that's from single A when I got to race pro open and racing against you then. That's what I thought about. And the beef that we had together was in the magazines more than it was ever between the two of us.
I think so. Yeah.
Oz played that up. And
Exactly.
and
He was a master at
he
doing
was.
that.
He was.
I really do, because I searched my mind, man, for like, did I ever just like T-bone Mike and send him into a tree? Or I don't remember doing that.
Yes.
I did. Oh shit.
Once.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
But, I mean,
No. And you got paid to do it. I understood.
It
From
wasn't
Richard.
like a Kevin McNeil deal. It wasn't like every weekend I was like, let's find
No.
Mike, it's just,
So JV was at Braddock Park in New Jersey.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Oh my
Over
God.
the fir-
okay,
over
look,
the
Absolutely.
the first straight
That
was
first-
12 feet long, dude. It was
It
12
was
feet.
12 feet.
It was 12
dude,
feet.
Fourth crank going into the first turn. It was unbelievable.
That's right. A left-hand turn with a high
Yes.
berm.
If
With
you
that
had
chain
lane,
link fence, unbelievable, man.
That's right.
If you
Which is
had
right on
lane
the other
6
side. Was
Yeah.
right on
There.
the other side.
and
Yeah.
if you had lane 6, 7, and 8, you might as well just not show up.
Oh,
to
you
Amarillo.
could have had lane
Yeah.
4 and you were jacked,
Yeah.
I could not. The first time I went to Braddock, because I had heard all this hype about Braddock. The first time I went to Braddock, I stood there and I was like, "You got to be shitting me! What the
This
hell
is
is
it.
this?"
I mean, hey, maybe it got better, but in 1982,
No.
it was the worst track ever, dude.
The gate
Yeah.
dropped. You pedaled 1, 2, 3, turn.
There was a little,
And I-
there was
I
like
don't know
one
if
little
you-
whoop
if you-
in the front.
Yep.
If you really think about it and remember, because I remember I had lane 8, one moto. Okay, so it's a left-hand first turn. The first straight's not that long. And the freaking gate is tilted. So
Yes.
like lane
That's
1
right.
is even ahead of lane 8. So you're
Yes.
double screwed. And
Yeah.
you can try as
Yeah.
hard as you want. And
Oh, that was my home track. I know it well. Oh yeah.
JV was the announcer there too.
Oh, it's just crazy. Yeah.
Well, I do remember getting a hole shot there and in the main event, and I remember you absolutely threw me into the chain link.
Oh, God.
And later on, when I went to work for Richard, I asked him about that, and he said, "Oh yeah. I gave Greg $500 to do that." Now I don't know if I know that's what the guy told. That's what
I
he
don't
told
remember
me.
getting $500 from him for that, but I mean, I can see him saying that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Yeah.
I remember fondly that race of turning around and giving you the Greg Hill hand.
That was unbelievable. Dude,
Hey.
I hadn't even stopped yet, dude. I'm like coming across the line going, mother, and before I'm even to a stop, no foot's on the ground, hands in my face. Hey, do you respect me now? It's like, yo, you could ask me that 10 minutes later and be like, yo, dude, you know what? I don't know what the beef is, but right at the finish. I'm like, you know what? F this mother.
I love it.
Yep.
It was crazy.
Hey,
But you're right. When Osborne was good about that. And I think a lot of added stress to Stu and my relationship was because everyone thought we hated each other. Everybody, you know?
yeah. I mean,
Well,
They're doing their job. That's what they're supposed to do with the magazines, I guess, you know?
and it sure motivate whenever we got to race each other, it sure motivated me.
Yeah, for sure.
The fact that when I wasn't racing against you, I was always watching you race because I loved the way you rode. I loved your style and the
Dude,
fact
this
that you
is
always
special.
gave it from
Totally.
the way the gate dropped until you crossed the line. You gave it 100% all the time. And in the way that you pulled on the bars and used your head, everything, man, it was phenomenal to watch. You didn't make a lot of mistakes. You always had good style, and you always had the ability to somehow find a way to stomp people's dick into the dirt.
yeah.
Well, you know, I appreciate that, man. Do you remember being in Louisville in in 1988 at the NBL Grands before the third main? Do you remember being up on the gate, walking
No.
in front of the gate? You don't remember?
No.
Okay, bro. Okay, so I'm on the gate for the third main, and I got to get fourth overall or better if Gary wins. Well, we all know Gary's going to win before we even got up in the morning because he just figured out how to win them big races, right?
Always could win the third main.
Yeah.
God.
So, dude, all I got to do in the last main is get fourth. And I don't really want to be thinking about that because that just jacks me all up. So the next thing I know, Hollywood Mike Miranda is over in lane 8. He's standing out in front of the lane, and you shook good luck number 8, good luck number 7, good luck. And you got to me, dude, and you said, don't hit the gate.
Oh man.
And then the next guy, good luck, good luck, good luck. And I'm like, oh, you bastard, you jacked me up.
I love it.
Man.
It was something. They don't do that today. I
They
mean,
don't.
I wasn't really wild about it, but if you think about it from a different perspective, it's like there's no drama today, you know?
Hey, that stuff, right? That is the stuff that Oz would bite into,
Yeah.
and he would story tell those things, right? And that that character, or he would build characters, he would build things out of that. And I think I think the sport, I can't say we, I'm not really involved. I think the sport is sorely missing that piece of characters, of things like you doing stuff, things like Hollywood doing stuff, Crazy Ronnie and Pistol Pete.
Yeah, you don't see it. I mean, I'm not at the races anymore, and I haven't been there for a long time, but I don't hear about any crazy stuff happening. It's just all normal, you know.
When I was at the Grands with you, Mike, and we were there, I enjoyed myself. I liked it. I liked it when we were there. We had a good time.
We did have a good time, and we watched races and we bet on races.
Yeah, Bucker race. You know.
Yeah, we were sat in the stands, EC and I, and bet $1 a race, and we would just pick somebody out. Oh, look at that guy! He's got a purple helmet. I come on, purple helmet. Come on, purple helmet.
Beginners, novices, everything.
Yeah,
So,
half the time I didn't know what class was racing, or
I did enjoy seeing. I enjoyed seeing other families. Right. I realized that there was a time when my mom and my dad and myself, we would go to the grands, and it was a family thing, right? And we were chasing points and going for titles and all that kind of stuff. But and our family was there with the other families, and that was our period of time in BMX that we got to do that. And now there's new families, and I did enjoy watching that. I liked seeing other families experience that, and I was the fly on the wall, and it was really cool to see.
I liked NBL because we get to race all the time.
I agree.
Transferring and waiting hours, man.
I agree. I didn't, and I was an ABA kid, right? I grew up SoCal. I was ABA. I didn't know anything about NBL until I don't know, maybe 84, 85. I raced some of our NBLs that were here, but those NBLs weren't NBL like when you went back east.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
and then when I went back east, I was like, what the hell is this?
You got to race 3 times.
Tom Sawyer Park.
You got to race 3 times over here.
I loved it. No, I was okay with that, but I was like looking at the courses and the tracks, and I was like, holy shit, look at this. This is crazy. I didn't even know sport like
rodeo
this.
arena.
Yeah.
This might be very controversial, but I think NBL had much prettier girls at the track. That's about as controversial as I'm going to get right there. But I have to say, I think NBL introduced a whole new different program to girls, not just racers either. I just think they had more pretty girls at the track than ABA arenas.
Listen, I can't get by you pulling a crazy Ronnie and shaking everybody's hand until you got to Greg Hill. I still can't get over that.
Man,
I'm telling you, it happened. I watched it.
That's fantastic.
But I never seen anybody else do that.
On the back of my pants, on the back of my pants, I had no respect because Oz printed that Greg Hill had no respect for me.
I remember that.
So I had it on the back of my pants.
Stoking the fuel into the fire again.
I love it.
And I love it. And again, Greg never said anything to me, but Oz said he said it. It's good enough.
Yep.
I doesn't respect me, huh?
I really don't feel like I ever can pinpoint I can go right to Pete Lonkarevich conflicts I've had face to face. No problem. Got no problem saying it here that I think he's a cheater and it's cool. And I would tell him to his face. I got no problem with it. But that happened. But I don't have any memory of having that kind of conflict with Mike. It was all magazine stuff.
Right.
Or Ronnie Anderson. You're in his face. It's physically happening. I can remember all that. But, yeah.
Same. Mike, I think the conflict I had with Greg was in my mind and Oz fed it and I used it. When I would go to Stewart's house to do gate starts, I went to your house once to do gate starts. And
my driveway was longer than Braddock's first straightaway, bro. And it was short.
I was going to say, so you had a short driveway.
I got invited to go to your house to do gate starts. You didn't invite me, somebody else did.
Probably Stu, because he would come too.
Well, you know what? So I showed up, and who invited me was Dennis Kishiyama.
Oh, Kishiyama, dude, that guy was cool.
Yep. He invited me to come to your house, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. And I remember I made a great breakfast. I stretched because I was going to Greg's house, and all I wanted to do was, man, I'm going to get to his house, and I'm going to smoke him out of his gate
his ass
every
off
time.
into the fence.
Yeah, I'm going to cut him off into his own driveway. And you weren't there. And I was like, oh.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah, you weren't there. You were somewhere else, and you weren't there that night.
Because Keish used to just show up at my house and use my gate, man.
Dude,
he would. That guy was cool.
I don't know if Keish or Todd Blazer had the fastest legs in BMX, dude.
I think Keish was the fastest guy in the world, but he didn't ever find the finish line, man.
Dude, he never got there.
Dennis Kishiyama ran his bars forward more than anyone else I ever saw.
Oh my God.
Shy style. Had pushed forward.
Wow.
And I remember this is from that day. Kishiyama, we were doing gate starts, and he was super particular, and he stacked dimes.
Oh, he would get a dime out.
Yes, he put dimes. His the distance between his headset and his stem.
Unbelievable.
He put like seven dimes. That was the height he wanted it at. And we were at that gate and I kept snapping him out of the gate. So I went back in the garage and he took out one dime and lowered it 1 dime height.
God.
I mean,
Lord is my witness. That's what happened.
every session that he would do, he would start out with 4 dimes and go to 6 dimes and have, I get ragged on for this penny bullshit thing over the years, but it's like Kishiyama is got it dialed in with the dimes, dude. And I'm talking 3 gates in, his bars are off. He's got the dime out. He doesn't care who's watching. He's changing his shit.
He would move his bars a little bit forward, a little bit
Move the
back.
bars forward, put them up a little higher.
Oh my
I
God.
told him once, I said, you might want to run your shit for like 3 days just to get used to it. You don't even know what it feels like changing it again.
Just ride the thing, man. Just ride it.
My dad told me once, he goes, Mijo, it's the Indian, not the arrow.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Right
Oh,
on.
yeah. I was telling him, I think it was over boxing gloves. It was boxing. Dad, these gloves they don't hit right. He goes, Mijo, it's the Indian, not the arrow.
I love it.
That's perfect. Man. That's
Yeah.
great. That's cool. Hey,
Oh.
Eric, I wanted to bring this up before the next thing I know we're done, and I forgot.
What's up?
I want to ask you if you remember a lap that we did in Vegas. It was in our semi. If you remember the last corner.
I don't.
So the worst thing that probably a lot of guys in our generation can admit to, the worst thing that you'll ever want to do is be on the track with Eric Carter behind you. Not
right.
because he's going to pull a John purse on you or run you over. He's just going to pass you and make you look like a complete dumbass. And then you're going to be like, damn. So it was like I was on balance and I was racing a little here and there, and it was our AA semi, and we're going in the last turn. I'm in 4th place, and I'm hearing, and I know where you are.
Yeah.
And I look down, and I'm going in the last turn, and I mean it's a split second, but my thoughts are like, this dude's gonna pass me. I can't outrun this mother. I can't go faster than this guy. So I'm gonna slow up and let him come in. Then I'm gonna just jack my brakes on and go to the left a little bit.
Right
And I hear the
behind.
buzzing. I'm gonna get on the gas.
Yeah.
That was like, I don't know if you remember that. I wasn't trying to be a jerk or nothing, but that took place, and what you did at the finish line was unbelievable. Like, it was the coolest.
What? I don't even remember, dude.
Dude, you came up at the finish line and you shook my hand and you said, that was perfect. You did it perfect. And then you rode off.
Yeah. Well,
I thought you were going to punch me in the side of my head or something, but I was like,
no. I learned
That was John Purse.
I learned my lesson with Hans Neeson.
Hans Nissen, that's what it was.
Hans Neeson. Did you?
No, was that an indoor? Was that an indoor
It
race?
was the indoor Vegas, 20-second track.
Yep.
Last turn, super tight.
Yep.
And if I didn't do that, there's just no way. I mean, like, there's no way I would have got 5th.
I made a living passing people that way because I
noticed.
realized
I understood that very clearly as we were entering the last turn.
I realized I didn't make a living that day.
I probably completely disappointed you, and I probably got 7th in the main and won like $94. But to be honest, the semi, once that was done, I was like, dude, I could hang my helmet up.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
Right.
Well, hey, I got 9th.
Oh my God. Now,
I got 9th that day.
speaking of corners, in Oklahoma one year, I was sitting in the very first row in the last corner, and there was a pro race going on, and all of a sudden John Purse was sitting in the chair next to me. You remember that? That was awesome.
Dude,
That was so good. Oh,
Yeah.
my-
Oh, that was rad.
you know, when I passed John in that race, man,
that was great.
yeah,
You guys, I thought you guys were going to kill each other. You guys had a special hatred, and I don't think it was magazine driven. I think it was real.
no, and it was,
That was real.
and it was literally from that race, man. Like, dude, I passed him, and what he said afterwards, I think he said to Pistol, because I think they were Vans teammates at the time. He said, "Dude, I was so embarrassed that people yelled that I couldn't let him get off the track
Right.
without T-boning him.
Absolutely.
And that was his mindset. And so that's why I kicked him in the head while he was on the ground. I mean, I didn't know that then, but like I knew that's what he was thinking.
You can't do that with clips, man. See?
You can't do
That's
that.
why you gotta have, yeah, that's why you gotta
Yeah,
run flats.
You can't
Oh my
kick
God.
people in the head with clips.
Oh my God, that's great. That's so
No,
good.
but it was, and I have look, man, I have a ton of respect for John. I think his resume and his record, it speaks for itself. Dude, the guy was, I mean, you were a big part of his success racing. I mean, he went on a tear. Like
Dude,
he went insane, dude.
he was like he was just arriving when I was kind of sort of finishing, and we had races where he would do stuff like, not smart things. And I would go to the finish and I would ride up to him and I'd say, listen, I know you're used to people riding up to you. This is how we became friends. We were in El Paso. I said, bro, I know you're used to people walking up and wanting to punch you in the face. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of want to do that right now. But you're like so good. And if you would not ride like a dick,
Right.
you wouldn't have so many enemies.
Right.
And of course, he said, F you, I'll kick your, that was his response all the time. So it was great because we had another race and I rode him into shit into the ground.
Right.
And I said, hey man, my career is done. Okay. I'm just coming out here having a good time on the weekends.
Right.
You want to do this every weekend, we could do it, or we could be friends. And so that's when we became kind of friends. And
Well, at his Hall of Fame induction, he thanked you over and over and said what a big influence you were, and he would not have been there without you to make those changes in him. So it's pretty special.
I agree.
That's awesome.
Good memories with him, just because during all that he grew as a person and he realized his potential. And then as a coach, you're like, man, this is great. We were in 97, we were in Saskatchewan at the UCI Worlds. So this is kind of how close we got to a point in our relationship where whatever I told him to do, he would do it. And I would never tell him to do something that I didn't think was good for him.
Right.
You might look at what I told him to do and think, wow, that's really weird, but it was good for him because he was in a whole nother, like some other deal. So I said to him after practice, after one lap, I said, dude, you need to go up. What do you have? He's got a 44, put a 45 on. So then he's like, okay. So then he goes and he does 2 more laps. I said, yo, because they had I think 45 minutes to practice. I said, put a 46 on. He goes, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, I'm not kidding you. We're not here to talk right now. Just go put a 46 on. So he put a 46 on his bike and I watched him go 2 laps. And I said, okay, do you have a 47? Do I need to go buy one? He's like, what are you talking about? You're going to put a 47 on your bike right now. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, we're done. You have wasted all my time right now. Okay, I'll do it. So 2 days later, he's going into the last turn in second behind Romero, and he just comes out last turn, moves to the right and blows past him and wins the world championships.
Yeah.
It's like the trust
With the 47.
With a 47
Jeez.
on his bike.
That's why he was able to
Wow.
blow by him, because he had a 47.
Right.
Yeah.
All he had to do was come out of the last turn and just drift wide, let it go wide and just drag race. You had like 40 yards or something.
I've seen that video actually.
Yeah, he just blew right by him.
Yeah, it's just a big long straightaway.
Yeah. And he was like, after he's like, well, how did you know? I said, it's not that I knew. I don't know anything. All I know, I was watching you and your gear wasn't working for you. It wasn't there for you.
And you
That's
didn't,
all.
and you didn't have to be in first until the finish line. So
No, that's the whole point. Like, hey, you're looking really good in your practice when you're hole shotting, and at the first jump, you're getting pulled.
I don't
All right, I got a question for both for Greg and Mike. Who had pink first?
That was a JT gig, huh?
Yeah.
Like
John
so many
Gregory.
people thought that you came up with it or I came up with it. It was just
John
JT.
Gregory.
Yeah, exactly.
He put it on me. He didn't give me he didn't ask me. He told me I was wearing it.
He
It already had your name on it and everything. It was like ready to go, right?
He said, your name's Hollywood, act like it.
Yeah.
No, he was a big man. He was big, tall, big man.
Yeah.
And he just he put his arm around me. I was walking through the warehouse getting clothes and stuffing them in that JT bag, and he just came out and put his arm around me and he said, "Hey, I got something for you. I want you to, you're going to do something." And I
You
was
remember who the first guy who wore it was?
Brock Glover.
Yes, sir. At the
Oh.
LA Coliseum, right?
Yep.
And that would have been like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before we
Mercy.
ever knew about it.
Yeah, correct. He had it first. And John Gregg, it wasn't, again, like Greg said, it wasn't our choice. We didn't get told, he just said, "Hey, you're wearing that. You're wearing this."
Here's your new kit.
Yep.
Like
You're
you would have
wearing
known if it was our choice because you would have never saw us wearing shoulder pads, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Never wore shoulder pads. And I don't know if you guys ever wore a JT helmet. They were heavy.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I had one. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were.
They were heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you rode for JT, you rode for him.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And Doug Mello, that guy was cool.
Oh, dude. One of the best practical jokes I ever saw was Doug I went with him to the market and he bought a salmon fillet, big salmon fillet, and he popped off somebody's hubcap in the parking lot and he put the salmon in the hubcap and he put the hubcap back on.
Unbelievable.
And I think it was Marty Tripes' car.
Yes.
And he
Wow,
put it back
that's
on
great.
and he goes, "That's going to be really funny in about 3 days."
That's awesome.
Oh God.
That's good stuff.
Oh man.
That's fantastic, isn't
That's
it?
pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's a good one.
He goes, "That's going to be pretty funny in about 3
That'll
days."
still work today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's
Greg,
cool.
Greg,
That's
what's
fun.
the dumbest thing you saw at a BMX track?
The dumbest thing I saw was watching being in Stockton at the shittiest race ever, watching it dump massively,
That's funny.
watching the ABA staff take hay bales, tear them apart, throw them on the track, and then hey, we're going to shorten the track, and then getting up on the gate and looking over and seeing freaking Brian Lopes holding this 8-year-old kid's bike under holding it. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Hey, Hillage, what's up? I'm like, what are you doing? It's like the gate drops. The dude smoked us. He ran the whole freaking track. He ran the whole way to the finish line, which was like cut in half, right? And I was like struggling to get moving, total mudded out. I got to the finish line. It was after the first moto. Gary raced the next moto. We shared a room, shared a car. He came across the line. He was mudded out. I looked at him and I said, "Dude," he goes, "Fuck this." And we went to the rental car and we drove to the hotel, showered, and went to the airport and went home. Like, they won't give your money back, but it was so unbelievably horrible.
I remember that, dude.
That was
Lopes,
terrible.
I think Lopes actually went and bought cleats too.
Wait, he ran the track
Yeah.
They shortened it.
They shortened it.
and he
Maybe
sprinted
it was a
it.
20-second run, right?
Yep.
But he won. Like, he was out there you're struggling, busting your nut, getting a hernia, trying to turn the crank. This dude's striding, pulling you, running with like football cleats on. And it's just like, this is stupid. This isn't a race. So why am I here? You know?
That I remember that, dude. That
Horrible.
Freaking
Wow.
genius.
horrible.
All right. What's the raddest thing you've ever seen at a BMX track
At a BMX track.
or on a BMX bike? At a BMX track. What's the raddest thing you've ever seen? I told DJ, I told JV today what the raddest thing I saw. Just blew my mind. But I want what's the
Okay.
raddest thing you saw?
I mean, in terms of track stuff,
Or anything at the races. EC, have you got anything?
For me, one of the raddest things that I saw was when we went to Devonshire Downs and they had that pro section.
yeah, I was going to say that.
That was miles ahead of itself.
Because
The water jump?
this is the same thing I'm saying, because I looked at it and I thought, I don't know how I'm going to jump this. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
how are we jumping this when it's so at the very end of the track?
Right.
And we did it, but it was really crazy.
They had that pro section at Devonshire Downs on the not the one that was not the one in that was
Equestrian Center?
yeah, no, it wasn't the small track. It was on the side of the hill.
Oh, okay.
So you
Right.
would come ripping down the hill, and then you would drop in, and you would turn right, and then the pros had this section where they would turn left in this big ass roll in, and just this.
You're coming off a big hill. You're totally spun out. You're wanting to upshift. You got no upshift happening.
You
You're
need
spun out,
47.
and then you
You
feel
need
like
that
you're going up an
47.
Evel Knievel ramp. Like, dude, how am I going to make this shit? It's
Village, you needed a 47.
if you could have clicked into like the Browning 2-speed 47
my-
and that shit, it would have been great. But yeah, that was crazy.
And could everybody jump it? Could everybody jump it?
No.
No, a lot of
Oh.
guys just rolled it. Or if you were getting some elbow action or getting a little cut off, you're just like, dude, everything has to be perfect in
Yeah.
order to jump this thing.
It was
Wow.
really, really, it was big, dude. It was like tall, like really
It was
tall.
super big, and it was dirt clods and soft dirt in the middle. If you were rolling
Oh,
it,
I love
Yeah.
it.
you're done. There's no way. that
I
you could do
remember rolling up to the track, and I remember seeing that going, oh my gosh, like I can't believe those guys are going to have to do that.
Was this 80, 89?
No,
No.
earlier.
No,
Oh,
I think I was
Like-
15.
I don't
85
remember.
or 86.
that was like 86, I think, or 85.
remember
It was
it.
85.
85 or 86. I think it was 85. I think that was up
86.
free
It had to be.
Yeah, I don't
85
remember
because
it.
I was on GHP, and that was it had to be then.
That was that. But you think about how big that jump was, right? And like there was nothing like that before that.
Huh.
I don't
No.
remember it. And it was all
You're not even getting a warm up. You're not like, hey, at the last race they had a kind of a big double, and at this race, it was a little bigger. We're cool. No, man. All of a sudden you're jumping like, is there like a bus under this shit? Like, where's how the hell
And
do
they
you get over this shit?
and they didn't cower, right? They didn't take it down. They didn't be like,
They
oh
didn't take
shit.
nothing down.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is too gnarly. We got to mellow it down. It's like, no,
no,
pussies,
because
jump it.
Yeah.
you want to maybe say something, but then you don't want to be the guy that squats to pee to be the first one to speak up. So you're like, oh shit, nobody's saying anything. I guess we're in,
Yeah.
And, yeah.
You know that old saying, you can't be a pro and a pussy.
That's right.
No, you can't. You got to just handle it. So
Yeah.
that's the deal.
Yeah.
So
All
That
right,
was-
Greg, you're on the you're on. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, EC.
No,
Finish
I was
that.
just gonna say that was for me. I just remember being an amateur. I was 15, and I was thinking,
Right.
dude, I was aspiring to be a pro in the future.
When you're a pro, you got to do that.
I'm thinking-
dude, you're being humble right now, okay? Because
Yeah, you
were
could have
probably
jumped
looking
that.
at
Yeah,
it
come
going,
on.
I know I can nail this thing. And look at these guys suck. They can't even get over it. That's probably what you were thinking. And that's good.
Oh man,
Sherry Elliott would have jumped it.
Jerry would have jumped that shit.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's great.
JV, I wanted you to tell them the raddest thing you ever saw on a BMX bike.
Yeah,
The raddest thing you ever saw
The
at a
rad.
track.
Well, not at a track. At
well,
a track.
we were
Shit.
there.
The raddest thing that I ever saw, and Mike reminded me of his name because I totally forgot, was that Woodward. And it was Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson, right? That was
Joe
the guy.
Johnson, the horror rider.
Yeah.
Horror Rider invented the tail whip,
Yeah.
tail whip air. I don't even know what the heck
Tail
you
whip
call
air.
it. It was on a quarter pipe. He didn't even get much air on it, but we saw him continue to try and do it. And then he successfully did it. He wasn't even over the top of it, but as you think about it now and you watch, these freestylers and everything,
That's crazy.
it's all about that. And we saw him do it and we were like, holy shit. I mean, he was only Mike was probably like 5 feet off the ground or something. It wasn't even that much. I mean,
he was just to the top of the ramp, but he was pulling back and doing a tail whip.
yeah.
At the first time couple times we watched him, we were like, what is he trying to accomplish? It didn't make
Yeah.
any
He
sense
pulled
at
it off
all.
right in front of you.
He pulled it
Yeah.
off right in front of us and we were like, oh my, and
Oh, that's
he
cool.
even to himself was like, he was like, I did it. Like he felt, and that is the coolest, just to see somebody invent a trick that actually is used now by so many people.
That's
I
pretty
mean,
awesome. Yeah. for
it
sure.
was-
That's-
yeah.
And that guy we built some jumps using the sides of the jumps at
Right.
Woodward. And that guy was a good BMXer.
Really?
He could dirt jump like nobody's business. He was
Yeah.
awesome.
I was gonna say, you reminded me, JV, about Jose Yanez.
Oh yeah. Well, I would have said that. I mean,
But he's
everybody
not
saw
a good
that.
BMXer.
No.
I told JV about the
Yes,
raddest
sir.
thing I ever saw in BMX. And I'm hoping to have him on as a guest sometime, but I couldn't wait to tell it. The raddest thing I ever saw in BMX was Cody Smart jumping the doubles in the first straightaway at Tulsa at the ABA Grand Nationals.
That was big.
They were
that might
two
have been the same
jumps.
weekend.
What's that?
That might have been the same weekend as DCAP.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And there were two jumps far apart. They were not meant as double jumps. They weren't doubles.
I think he
Came
did that
down-
also.
You
He
came
did that
down
a
the
race
wooden
in
ramp.
Texas
Go
as
ahead.
well.
What's that?
I seen him do that at a national in Texas in some tight indoor thing. I seen him do it as well.
Well, this is the one where we all pitched. I forget who. I think Brian Patterson started it, and we passed the ball cap, and we all went down to the first straightaway, and we passed the hat, and people were putting cash in a ball cap, and Cody was going to jump from one jump to the other, and I remember he came down the super steep wooden ramp, and he just was pedaling straight at him when everyone else stopped pedaling and went to speed jump. He just kept pedaling.
Yeah.
And it was way, way high. And I think if I remember, he ditched the bike at the end and wrecked,
Yeah.
but he was incredibly high, and it was insane. The fact that he even tried it just blew me away.
I remember those jumps. I actually remember that happening.
Yeah.
There was
Insane.
a lot of hype. There was a lot of hype built up before his motor.
He was a style master. He was much like Cruz, you know.
Yeah. I don't know if he ran across. I don't know if he ever walked through McDonald's naked.
He might not.
He,
may not.
he raced. He was racing this last weekend.
Yeah,
I know he was in the main event.
He was in
Well,
the
I
main
think-
event.
I think he got fourth.
Yeah, he was in the
Yeah,
main.
and I think Charlie Williams got fifth. That was like watching like
Yeah.
Back to the Future, man.
It was crazy.
I know.
It was crazy watching that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane. And I get hats off to Big Daddy Air Group. our
Big
friend.
Daddy is like
Yeah.
the freaking Timex, dude. He just keeps going.
And he jumped the big jump. He was, and he looked great. He looked like Eric Group. You could have
for sure.
put a Mongoose jersey on him from
That's
back in the
cool.
day.
Very
It's
cool.
so
Look the same.
crazy that, dude, he still absolutely loves it.
Yep.
Loves
and
it.
he's still, if you watch him, he's just the absolute most efficient rider.
Yeah, he is.
He just loves to race. Like he doesn't get that normal like everybody else is like, all right, man, I think the ship sailed. I'm good.
He's still in it.
Dude, he's just ready to go, man. I texted him today and I said, yo, man, you handled it again. Good job. And I was gonna say something because we talk about that subject, you know.
Yeah.
And he goes, yep. He goes, I knew you were gonna be watching. And then I said, well, it's cool to see you make everybody in that main look like normal people. He gets it. He got it.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's
It was
good.
great.
Roop's gnarly, man. Like I mean, I don't know how he can just
I
keep
don't.
staying motivated, but he really does. He loves it.
Yeah.
He loves every
Loves
aspect
it.
of it.
You need to have him, and maybe he's already been on,
Nope.
but
Yeah.
the whole podcast could just be about how can you love this for like 50 years, man?
I know.
Like straight up. How? Because I want to know.
I know,
No,
right?
I can't wait I want to have him and Robbie on at the same time
Oh
together.
god,
And-
they'll be arguing and shit, dude. Just like
exactly. Exactly. That'd be the best.
He is impressive, dude. He's very impressive to watch race, man. And he's just like you said, Hollywood. He's so efficient.
Yeah,
He doesn't waste a pedal. He doesn't waste a crank.
No.
It doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And, you know,
And
he's never been a big guy.
He doesn't look like he's trying.
No.
It's like he makes it look super easy, right?
I know.
That's cool.
He's done a great job, kind of like adapting to this style, the new style of racing, the whole speed jump thing. And he's done a great job doing that, man. It's just
Hats off.
totally different. Yeah.
That's
Hats
cool.
off.
Yeah. All right, Greg, you're on the gate. You're on the gate. Who don't you want next to you?
Ooh,
That's
that's a
an
great
easy one.
question. Oh,
I'll give you an example of that one. So in '82, we're at Vegas in December at the Jag Jocks Coca-Cola ABA World Championship. And we're getting ready for the pro main. And about 40 minutes before that, we were in the open main, and Sewell and I wrecked. I'm not, God rest his soul. And I love that guy, but he did the old come around the outside, put the leg over the number plate, lean on you. And I'm like, okay, we're both going to wreck. So we wrecked. So I would say Sewell, because we got into that race and he was in lane 1. I feel bad for Stu. He was in lane 2 and I was in lane 3. I told my buddy before we got up on the gate, I said, listen, dude, you watch this shit. Go watch this. Okay. Sewell is going to be on the infield on my second crank. And I don't know where Stu's going to be, but he's going to be pissed off. And it was just Sewell. He was something else. I mean, Sewell was the fastest, squirreliest, like Anthony and Tommy. And I love Tommy, and I don't want him to take this wrong, because Tommy was so fast, man. And like, he's another one. Like, so who do you not want to be on the gate with? Those are different. Not want to be on the gate, different than if you got like Ronnie Anderson next to you. You know what I mean? Because Sewell and Tommy aren't going to do anything stupid. They're just so damn fast. You could almost work out in your mind how you could get out front, but in your mind, if you were hard pressed to try to visualize being out in front of Tommy Brackens, or Anthony, because their leg speed was stupid. It was amazing.
Those guys are that's like putting a Corvette engine in a Volkswagen.
Pretty much, yeah.
well, if that's the case, then Sean Texas was a fuel dragster on a skateboard.
Yeah, yes, that guy.
That was the one that I never wanted to be in the gate with him. One time I sat on his bike and his bars were completely crooked.
Right.
And they go, Sean, your bars are crooked. And he goes, yeah, I like them like that.
What are you going to say to that?
And he, when you get on the gate next to him, he had one of 3 things were going to happen. He was going to hit the gate and bend it, or he was going to hole shot and then wreck.
He had no control, man.
No, you had no idea. Or he would just, all the planets would align and he would make it around the track without wrecking, and he would usually win.
Yeah.
Because he was so strong.
He was super strong.
If you were next to him, that didn't help his cause.
Dude,
if there was anyone near him, that didn't help his cause.
You know how you had that cool back wheels moved over to the right a little bit deal, like kind of sort of like I did as well. If you're next to those dudes, if they're on my right, I'm getting my shit as far to the left as I can. Don't even care who's on my left. Just get me away from this dude.
Yeah.
Right.
The whole shot, he could whole shot and he could come 2 feet over on you, or he can go 2 feet the other way. I don't think
it had no bearing on who was next to him or which way the turn went. It just happened. And I never saw anyone crash more times out of the gate than Sean Texas.
Have you guys ever seen those? You know, when you watch those NASA launches and the booster rockets split off,
that's the deal right
through the air like
that's pretty much the perfect analogy.
that's what those are.
Totally.
That's great.
That's good shit, man.
He was huge. The guy was huge.
I remember we were in Memphis, and I'll never forget this. We were going up for our 3rd main. It was NBL National, and I won the first 2 mains, and I'm going to the second turn, and Sean Texas comes on the inside and hits me, knocks me over the berm. I got 8th, so 2 + 8 = you didn't win. And I never forget ever. I don't know what got over me, but he was sitting just past the finish line. He had one leg on the ground and his pedal was up. And I came on the side where his foot was on the ground. And I was so mad.
You just kicked his foot out.
This guy could break my neck off, right? I just came up to him and kicked him so hard, and he flew onto his back, and he got up and he says, "You're crazy." And I said, and then I chased him out into the parking lot. And
I remember that.
I will never. And when I got done and the adrenaline kind of stopped, I was like,
What are you
dude, are you stupid? Like this dude is like a freaking monster, man. But I don't think that he wrecked me on purpose. I think he had zero control.
Yeah, I
Point the
agree.
bike.
I think what he was on the inside of the turn, still going straight and still pedaling.
Oh,
Yes.
the turbojet was going, and like like Eric said, he was just like
Yeah.
he needed something to bounce off of, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If he didn't hit you, he was jumping into the grandstand.
You want to know what? They literally.
God, he was so fast and so strong, man.
Unbelievable.
I'll tell you. You know who was like that, but it's a weird deal, right? Because so Veltman is from my era.
Another kid that could go so
God.
fast,
But
but
here,
sometimes you swear he had his forks on backwards.
yeah,
Especially when they were pro forks.
Yeah,
Here's
I
the-
mean, he'd just hang a left turn in a straightaway, and what is going on?
but here's the crazy thing about Steve, right? Here's the crazy thing about Steve. Dude, if I've gone dirt jumping with Steve and he can jump.
Oh yeah.
Great rider.
Yeah, like he
But there's
And-
no, he's not powering it when he's doing that.
And
right.
I've never seen anyone get in such odd positions
Yeah.
with his body on his
Right.
bike,
Yeah.
and somehow it looks like he
Pull
meant
it
to
off.
do it. It looks
Yeah.
like he meant to do it.
So it always tripped me out when Steve would have those moments, right? Where he would just literally, it's like he hit a landmine. He would just, for no reason, he'd be pedaling down the first straightaway and just completely
Blow up.
explode.
Right.
Both feet off the pedals, boom, just explode. And you're like, what the hell happened, dude? What just
Too
like,
much power, dude. I think.
yeah. And so
He should have clipped in.
He should have been.
He should have clipped in much earlier.
But I always liked it when Steve was inside of me because I could plan for that, right?
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like, okay, this dude's gonna shut down. You know, he's in 4, lane 1, 2, and 3, they're done, right? So now I'm just
Right.
gonna follow this dude over, and I'm gonna probably come out of the first turn in second, and then I can work on this guy.
And you can pump lap it around him, basically.
Right. I got 4 turns to work on this guy,
Right.
but I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be in second. So this is pretty good.
Didn't you so aren't you and him pretty close in age? Didn't you race as amateurs as well?
Yeah, we raced as amateurs. He's like a half year older than me, so I raced
Right.
him all the time. I mean, he quit for a while, and
Right.
then he came back, but yeah, older AMs all the way into pros, all that. I raced him the whole
Yeah,
time, man.
that's crazy.
And I get on really good. Like me and Steve get along super good. Like we
Yeah,
were.
he's pretty mellow.
He is. He's really mellow. He's super kind, really nice guy, man. Like thoughtful guy. And I loved hanging out with Steve at the races, but I just never could understand it. Sometimes he'd blow up. I talked to him after it. I'm like, dude, what happened? He's like, hell if I know. I don't know what happened.
Dude, it's the Corvette and the VW thing you said earlier. It's just
It's exactly what it is. He stuffed that Corvette engine in that
way too much
Volkswagen.
power happened.
Can't steer that thing, dude.
You just can't, dude. You just can't do it. Great.
For a lot of us, we always saw Greg on the track. And for those of you who got to see him on a track, you saw power, but you saw determination. You saw this total commitment to winning. But the first time I saw you ride off the track was at a place called Centennial.
Oh my, I love that place.
And I had never seen that side of Greg Hill before. Dude, you were rad.
I mean, I did the
Who
same
knew?
thing that we all did, just go hit jumps and ride in fields and
Right.
have fun, and
Who knew? Did nobody knew that you were such a rad jumper. You know, you
That's-
could do
that's
all
because
the
the tracks the early tracks we rode on had no jumps.
I know.
I mean, they had little jumps, but nothing like when you would go to a place that had jumps,
Right.
There's no Braddock, you're saying.
it was
Not
no
like,
Braddock.
you know, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I appreciate that, dude, because you grow, you're coming up, and you know who's fast, you know who's got style, you know who, you kind of know everybody, and but it's fun riding like that. And when you're racing 30-40 weekends a year, you're not going out and having such a great time finding trails and then just kind of having a great time like that. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes I say that and there's people that are like, what are you talking about, man? I had a lot of fun. I'm like, I don't know, dude. All I know is that when it was time to go racing, I had to be serious, and we had to race 40 weekends a year. You know?
Right.
And
mean-
and when you raced, it was all business, man. It was all business. It,
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
you
I
were
don't know
when
how
you
else
jumped,
it
you
could've-
jumped
yeah.
to the most efficient way. It's not that you didn't, have style, but you were just absolutely point A, point B, win the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it, dude. I
And you
can
did
relate to
and
it.
you did a lot of winning races.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
said, it was not just the way it wasn't just that you won, it was the way you did it. I mean, you shamed people. You would win by, like that picture of you winning at Chandler, putting your finger up like this, crossing the finish line. There's
Yeah.
nobody else in the shot. It shows like the last 30 yards of the finish line and there's nobody in the shot.
That image is actually, there's so much in that image with,
I mean, what I like about that photo, I don't even, what's crazy with that picture, to me, I go from when we're in the pit area. Richard wasn't at the fence when I
Yeah.
left for that race. So we pitted on the other side of the track.
Yep.
that's what he wanted to be.
And on the same side, like down by where the first turn, there was another, we were on the other side. And so it was like, hey guys, and we raced first, and I know I was on the team sheet. So it's like, we're going to start this shit off now. And everybody was like, yeah. And it's like, I had no idea Richard was there. So
Dude,
when I'm going across
had
the
to
line,
have
I'm
ran.
pointing to my team and to Richard. And then all of a sudden I come across the line and I turn, and Richard's like, we got a lot of mo. We got a lot of mo. He's all screaming and shit. And I'm like, holy shit, how'd you get over here? He was just so
Dude.
into it. But you got
Hey.
Sandy Finkelman,
That's what I
Wharton. Sandy's got his head down going, oh shit.
I know. I
don't
love
know
that
that
picture,
maybe-
dude.
maybe Sandy didn't like me a whole lot, but I guarantee his head was down thinking about shit, Rich, GT Richard.
Yeah.
They were racing each other along
Yes.
with Roger Warsham and Mr. Hutchins. They were all racing without ever getting on a bike.
Yeah.
Like,
I love
the
it.
competition was crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome. And all of that's in that picture, man. I love it.
Yeah, it's cool.
We got a lot of mo. I like that, dude.
It's just we would
That's like
have
Rocky
we would be
3
in the
quote,
parking
right?
lot in our vans that we rented. It would be me and Rich and like Chanity and Fade and a couple other, and we would just drive in Michigan at Waterford Oaks. We would drive around in circles around all the guys because everybody was in the parking lot taking their bikes apart. All the teams, everyone we raced was in the parking lot getting ready to go to the airport, and he would drive around with us doing clubber laying. We got a lot of mo. And he would just be screaming that shit. And I'm like, Rich, dude. And it was
He
great.
loved winning, didn't he? He
Yeah,
loved
was
winning.
something, man. That guy
Yeah.
was something else.
Hey,
He
man,
was
they
something
don't,
else.
they don't make them like that.
No, for sure not. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. He's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. I don't know if you guys have any questions that anybody else asked.
Well,
This guy
I do
asked.
I know what you're talking about. It's
Okay, you know, all
it's
right.
our buddy Craig Allen from the
Yes,
80s.
man. Craig Allen. He's out by
Yep.
you.
Yeah, he wanted to know. He's a good buddy of ours and
He's cool,
supports
man. I
the
like
show.
that guy. He's cool.
Great guy. Great guy.
He wants to know what race stands out to you the most and why.
I think I know what it is.
Okay, get what one?
ESPN. I think it's ESPN. I'm saying for you. I
For
bet
me,
I know what your race is. I bet it's the ESPN race.
It's the ESPN finals for so many reasons, man.
Yeah.
And for so many reasons that have nothing to do with winning a title. It had nothing to do with that. It was like the points going into the race was super close. After the semis, it was just me and Leary and Eric. Everybody else was kind of back on the points. I think I had to get last and Harry had to get first to take points over. It was just one of these deals where that was our first race with GHP as a team that we did a team sheet on. That was going to that race where you know that the wife can't come because she's going to pop. Her due date was like yesterday kind of thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
My team manager, Sal Eckel, nobody told me that she had already went to the Sal Eckel. That dude's awesome.
Sal.
Sal Eckel.
Wow.
Sal, baby.
Wow.
Oh my God. So
The pride
Sal,
of Astoria.
that's a whole nother deal. We could get on that guy. It's
Oh God.
I love that guy. But
Love him.
so what happened was we raced through the deal, and we got going into the mains. Well, after the second main, I had a third and a second. So the championship thing was done, and Stu had 2 wins, and first place was $7,500 and second place was $3,000. And so the deal was this: I didn't know that my wife at the time was at the hospital already. I was just in the parking lot and out by staging, and I found an area where I could walk in a circle, pretty big circle. Like maybe it took 40 seconds to do the walk. And I just kept walking it. And I just needed to not be sitting thinking about the points, right? And I didn't realize this, and I love Dennis Dane and Stu. Like, these dudes are like my big brothers, and I love them. Like, I would go to war for them, but they were super close. And as I would pass them, I heard them talking, and I heard, I hope Stu doesn't kill me for this. He won't even remember it, dude. He doesn't remember much. He's going to have to admit that. But I remember hearing Dennis say, "So what are you going to do with the money?" And Stu's like, "Well, I'm going to go tomorrow and I'm going to buy this Honda 750, blah, 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 whatever." And I'm just walking by when I hear that. And I'm like, that ain't going to happen, dude. That's not happening. And so we get into the gate, and I got the inside lane, and I got a great start, and I won from start to finish. And I turned around at the finish, and I'm counting, because I don't care about the championships. It's over already. I don't give a shit about winning the race. Don't care.
Right.
It's all about that whole energy of him and I. And I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm like, 7, yes. You know. And then the next thing I know, I'm standing in the infield, and Sal's like, "Yo, you got to go to the hospital." And Rennie Roker has a mic in my face, and they're giving me the keys to this. I don't want to be ungrateful, but to this pile of a Ford Mustang car that I had for 2 days. And the next thing I know, I'm going 115 mile an hour down the freeway to the St. Joseph's Hospital in Orange County to watch my son get born.
Yeah.
Wow.
All in all, a good weekend.
Yeah, it was a good weekend.
Yeah.
It was a lot more than just, maybe it's a blessing. Like, you guys can relate to where maybe you're going into a weekend and you maybe had the flu, you felt sick, your expectations weren't high, and then you had one of your best weekends because you totally didn't have pressure, right?
Right.
Like, there was just
Yep.
so much other crap happening. But
Right.
that situation with Dennis and Stu, I have never, ever openly spoken about it with them. That's going to be out there now.
It's
But
out there now, baby.
hey,
It's fuel to the
Stu-
fire, man. Fuel to the fire.
But
Stu
hey-
has so many of those stories that favor him. You know what I'm saying? We all have those stories, you know.
Yeah,
We're all on each side of the stick at some point, right?
but that's the thing, Greg, right? That's that. I mean, I remember being at 86 Grands when I was on Hutch that
Yeah.
year I won AM title. And I remember Hayden won the cruiser main, and when he came across the line, he like raised his hand.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting next to my dad. I looked at my dad and I said, "I hope he enjoys that one because he's not getting another one."
See, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's the fire, man.
Right. And it was like it was great that Matt won, because
Right.
that was like, okay, and that he celebrated it, because I was
Right.
like, damn it, you're okay, great. Like, now you've given me something to clamp onto.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And
That's
you know,
important.
right. And it was just, dude, he rightfully so. He should raise his hand. He just won the cruiser title.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
He
For
should be
sure.
celebrating.
Totally.
According to Eddie King, those don't matter.
Yeah. That's not really a race.
And John Purse says that too.
Yeah, that
John
was
Purse says
that was
cruiser don't
practice.
count.
Yes,
That was
practice.
That's
Yes.
just practice.
Cruiser
Cruisers
don't count.
Cruisers
The
don't
thing
count.
about John, if John didn't do good in pro and he won the open, he'd be like, "Well, pro didn't matter, just pro open mattered today."
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
You know where
Whatever you say, dude.
I'll tell you where cruiser counted.
Yeah.
Cruiser counted on my contingencies and my money that got paid to me.
Right. Exactly. Totally.
That's
Absolutely,
where
man.
Cruiser counted.
Well, I have JV, you have any more questions? I have two.
No, that was it. We got it.
All right, here's
For
my
me.
two. Well, one's a bonus. One we'll do afterwards. All right. So here's you said, so I'm not bringing it up. You said you didn't like that Pete was a cheater.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
Well, here's the deal. I'm never ever going to accuse somebody of something that I 100% don't know that it's true. I'll never do that. That dude's a cheater. He used steroids he used steroids from middle of 84 through his career. And I know this for a fact. Listen, man, when you're racing someone that on the third crank, you're just a wheel ahead of, and 6 months later, they're 35 pounds heavier and they're even or ahead of you. Okay, I'm going to say this to go into this. I don't hate the guy. Okay. I watched him coming up and I knew I was going to have him in my face and I knew I was going to have to deal with him. And I've got respect for everything he's done except the cheating. When I found out in my mind that I thought he was doing it, I went and bought a membership to the gym called Block's Gym in Tustin where he trained. I started talking to the owner and I started talking to some other guys. They're like, oh yeah, you race BMX like Pete, you need to do this stuff. This is what we got him on. And I'm like, okay, so if we want to connect the dots, I'm on the gate next to this guy in Irvine at was it the Murray World Cup at Irvine that one time?
Yeah.
Big race at Irvine. Dude's telling the starter to hold it so he could throw up. He's also got two big ass bodybuilders there that are his buddies that are hanging out with him. And you can make it more obvious. I know for a fact he did. And we were at a race in 85 at the USBA Grand Nationals in Texas. And he wasn't in the points hunt and I was. And I got 4 seconds that weekend and he got 4 firsts. And I'm not a person that is going to say, well, there's no way you can beat me every single time. But when we raced all our motos, we raced all our semis, all our mains, dude was half a wheel ahead every single time. And some of these times I'm like, that was the best gate I've had. And I don't know how long, dude's still half a wheel ahead of me. We rode out into the parking lot to do the cool down deal. And there was no one around. And I said, man, what the hell are you doing, dude? Like, props to you, you're winning. But this is like, hey, we're playing poker and you keep winning. It's like, dude, what are you doing? You're cheating. I'm calling you out right now. So he was just riding around in a circle and he looked at me and he's like, BTL, and he'd keep riding around. Bong toke load. Listen, I know you're stoned. It's cool. I get it. But you're doing some other shit. And then he told me, man. And he didn't tell me everything, but he told me enough. I just know, man. If anyone who was in the gate with him and went through the wars that we did would say that they don't think he's doing it, they're stupid as shit. There's no way that guys that we were at the racing with every weekend to see this guy and know that he's not a cheater. So for me, I feel like he's a cheater. I called him out. I sent him a message like 5 or 6, maybe 8 years ago. Years later, I said, man, I got respect for you. We're grown now. And I just want you to know that, as we're grown adults and I reflect, I think it's not cool that you had to cheat to win. And he turned right around and he posted it on Facebook. Look at this message. Greg Hill accused me of cheating. Dude, I'll say it right here in this interview. I'll say it to his face. Dude, I don't care, man. I don't care, man. I don't give a shit. I believe it. And if you don't like it, well, you know what? I can give you my address or you can tell me where we can talk about. I don't care. But you cheated. And that's the deal. And just fess up.
I completely respect you for saying it.
I get it if you don't want to put it in here. I get it. It's fine. But I'll stand behind it.
Okay. So I'm going to let my two friends here talk for me.
What do you mean?
I mean, did I want to put it in here?
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't going to bring it up. I was hoping you would.
I'm not out.
I don't know. I never saw Pete inject himself.
Right.
Well, is he the only guy?
I never did either. But I
he's not
saw
the
a
only
Vision
guy.
ad with a 19-inch bicep. You don't get that from multivitamins. Sorry about that.
I was personally offered the opportunity to do it from the same guy that was helping Pete do it.
Yeah.
He offered it to me and said, "This is what you're going to have to do because this is what Pete does."
And that's the same dude at the gym that told me the same thing.
I turned it down because I just said I wanted to have kids.
Right.
That was my whole deal. I wanted to have kids, and I was so afraid that that would affect it. So I didn't. But I have no regrets not doing it either.
Hey, you know, everybody, you're at peace with it. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I'm at peace with it. I feel like, you know, it's a controversial topic. I'm not out here slandering. I'm not making a campaign against the guy. If anybody asks me, I'm going to tell them what I think. And, you know, the only person that might not like it will be him and maybe his fans. And I don't give a shit. So whatever. I don't care.
Well,
you know why? It's easy to say I don't care because people say, well, this guy's just a dick. No, dude, let me tell you why I don't give a crap. Because I did sprints. I snapped red line crank arms off. I busted pedals and free wheels and chains. I freaking put my face into the concrete more than a few times doing sprints. I did squats. I broke my body. I broke my shit at the Nationals. When I get up in the morning, my body's fucked up. All right. I walk to the coffee machine. I sound like snap, crackle, pop cereal, right?
Like a deck of cards. Shuffling deck of cards.
I gave my shit to the sport and I got no regrets. But don't tell me, dude, that because you cheated and I know it and I feel the way I feel because of what I put myself through and I know you cheated. And that's why I'm saying something. That's why when asked, I'll tell it because I sweat, blood, sweat, and tears and gave my life to the track. Right. And you know what? You cheated, and if you don't like it, you know, let's talk. Whatever.
I mean, he's not the only guy. He's not the only guy.
He's not. I know several guys that did it, but I didn't get beat by all them guys. I got beat repeatedly by him over a 2-3 year period, and you know where it was like, you know, these things happen, and people just don't understand the backstory. We're sitting in. I know we got to be quick here, but
no, we don't. No, we don't.
We're sitting in Louisville in '85 at the NBL Grands. The race is over. I had a 39-point lead going in the third main. First place is 40 points. I'm in the first turn. In second, he's in first, kicks my tire. I crash. I don't make it. He wins all 3 mains. I win the cruiser title, which means dick. And as Eddie King would say, and
because you don't count.
That's right. That's
and we're at the hotel that night, okay. And I'm with my group of, you know, we're the loser group at my table. We're all just, you know, hanging out. And Pete and his buddies are over at another table 40 feet away. And this is the deal. I would have probably never said anything if this didn't happen. His girlfriend comes out of the bathroom, walks to our table. Stephanie was her name. Puts her hand on our table, leans in and says, hey, this is the loser's table. The winner's table is over there. If you guys want to come hang out with us, just come on over. And after that, 3 months later, we were in Oklahoma and we were going to the third main and I ran him off the infield and Ronnie Anderson won the title. That would have never happened if it wasn't for his girlfriend. That was great, by the way. But the point is if you're going to do some shit and you're going to rub it in, then expect it to be both ways, man. You know?
Right.
Agreed.
That's it.
Yeah. Wow.
Stu was big, but he was clean. And you knew it. Because when you see someone that's on that stuff, you don't need muscles to know they're on it. It's their attitude and their psyche and how they operate. And then that's how you know. So anyway.
He sure did get big fast.
You think? I mean, you know, wear a bigger shirt, man. Kind of mask your shit. Don't go into a Vision streetwear ad with a t-shirt where your bicep is ripping the shirt, basically. You've got like bodybuilder bicep. And you can't get that without anabolic steroids. You just can't. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Don't get that first straightaway either. So
I remember my dad bringing it up, not specific to Pete per se, but
Right.
just in general. He just brought it up in general that, and my dad had a weird way about doing things. My dad didn't tell me
Right.
that I should or shouldn't do things, but my dad would plant seeds.
He'd make you aware.
Correct. And he would say, hey, look, there's this stuff that is, that is being, it's happening in sports,
Right.
not specific to our sport. It's happening in sports, and it may be in your sports. I'm curious what you think about that and what you're going to do if that opportunity is presented to yourself.
Right.
And then I would have to, I parent my kids the same way.
Process it. Right.
Right. And then I have to process it and talk with him about it. And
Right.
So we talked through it. And then he explained to me that, like, hey, look, that, at the time, we didn't know what that stuff did or what it could or couldn't do to you. Right.
Sure.
It was,
Yeah.
Lyle Alzado was
I was going to say, we did know.
Yeah.
Lyle Alzado was the one.
Right.
Yeah. But it was like, so basically what my dad said was like, look, you're at 16, 17, 18, you're going to make your own decisions. I can't be with you 24/7.
Right.
So I want you to know all of the parameters that are going to be at play here. This stuff, you don't know what this stuff's going to do to you 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now.
Yeah.
So I want you to consider that.
Right.
When you're presented with this opportunity, if you're presented with this opportunity, I want you to think about that. And that was the discussion that we had.
That's cool.
Yeah. And similar to Mike, I was so scared. I mean, when I was in high school, I actually, you guys are going to laugh. I had friends, because I went to a lot of school parties and stuff. And I had friends that I went to the parties with. I had one that he was a Coke dealer. And those guys were always doing Coke. So I'd always see these guys, we go to parties, I'd be drinking beers, and those guys were just, just doing Coke, dude.
Easy.
And they were always trying to give me this shit. And I actually told them, and I've actually told my kids, they can use the same bullshit line. I told them that I was born with a heart defect, and that if I took Coke, my heart could stop and I could die.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
They never offered me Coke again.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
We
Cool.
were racing in that race in France, Bercy,
Yeah.
and the racer, I forget what country he's from, Hans Jobé. He approached me and tried to get me to use that Swedish penis pump.
Are you
And
serious?
I told him I had a heart condition and I couldn't because it would, the blood rushed away from my heart. But Hans Jobé, if you're listening, I regret not using it.
Yeah.
I regret not using it. My wife's mad at me that I didn't use it.
Nice.
Holy shit.
That's great.
No, you would have to be naive. I'm not going to, you would have to be naive to think that stuff didn't exist in our sport. Right.
Oh, sure it did. Yeah.
And I know that I'm certain that I raced against a number of guys
Sure.
that were
Yeah, we
doing
did.
that.
Yeah, we did.
And for me, I always felt like, in my mind, what I would tell myself is like, okay, I want to work a little bit extra hard to try to beat that guy,
Right.
just because I think that person may be doing that. And second, I always felt like I always felt like I really had the upper hand, because I always looked at that as, man, how foolish would you be? And how short-sighted are you to think that you need to do this, right? And for a thing that is so short, like, dude, we weren't making millions.
You're trying to win a $2 million contract with some professional organization,
Right. I'm not like, I'm the line for me for sure is cheating, right? Okay. It's like you either are or you aren't.
Yeah.
So that's the line.
It's a touchy subject, but it is what it is. I mean, how can you not talk about it if we all watched it and lived it and experienced it,
Well, you always had balls of brass, and you still do. I'm glad that you brought it up. I'm glad that you brought it up, because I've been wanting to.
Yeah.
But my cohorts have been talking me out, shying me away from it.
Well, hey, listen, you can
That
you
is
can
true.
put all the blame on me.
No,
Go.
Here's
Here-
an
hey, Hollywood wanted to talk about this stuff, but what I always said to Mike was, if a guest wants to talk about it, then we can talk about it.
yeah.
But it would be bad for us to go out as this podcast to go out and just start
Bring it up.
right.
Yeah,
But
bring it up.
if a guest chooses to talk about it,
Yeah.
and they want to talk about it, then we will talk about
It
it.
is what it is.
Yep.
It is what it is.
And a lot of people are going to listen to this, and a lot of people are going to say, well, this guy's just pissed off because Pete was. That's cool.
Right.
Again, I don't care because you weren't there.
Yeah, that's right.
I was, and I saw it all. So
We think
Hey-
we can get more subscribers if you can get your own Facebook page, your own Facebook. You know,
Yeah.
without
I
your
never
wife
knew
watching
your
it.
middle name was Liz.
Yeah.
hey, here's the deal. I get razzed on, like when I first did it. My buddies would be like, "Oh, I see who wears pants," and I'm like, "Hey, check this out." The 5 minutes after I did it, I stopped getting private messages from shady people,
There you
you know, and it was great. It's like the best thing I ever did. So,
go. I'm just kidding. Don't get
Well,
don't hit me when
cool.
I see you.
He is going to hit you.
Take the
He's
heat.
going to hit you.
All
now. Well, listen, despite what Oz says, we're friends.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I always knew that, and that's
yeah.
why I reached out to you a while back. I was like,
Yeah, me too, man. The day we had that walk around Woodward Camp and we talked, it was
was
mind, it was mind altering. It was world changing. It was like, yep, we're just two guys that race BMX and we're
That's
friends and we're
That's
brothers
it.
and like the four of us are, we're brothers in BMX.
that's it, man. It's cool.
Right.
It's very cool.
Greg, thank you so much for being on the Dirty Knobs. Thanks for coming on and sharing with us. And
I appreciate you guys having me, man. It was really cool.
Hell yeah.
What a fun time.
So,
Awesome.
John
Hope to
Cruz
take a
was
bump
right.
into you guys at one of these old school things or whatever. They'll be aren't they having one out at your place, Eric, or something?
Somebody's having it.
We are.
That's what I'm
We're
saying.
having it.
We're doing it.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
doing it.
We'll
Hey,
be
dude,
there.
hey, Greg, you are going to have a blast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Have a
walking
blast.
around. I ain't riding, but I'll be walking
No,
around.
yeah.
Enjoying
You'll have
it.
a blast.
We'll
It's
see
gonna
about
be-
that.
That's
We'll
all
see.
right.
We'll hear your snap, crackle, and pop coming.
It ain't gonna
we'll
happen, bro. It's
It ain't
fucking
gonna happen.
hard enough
We'll
to
have an
walk.
orange bike for you. You'll be all set,
Hey.
brother.
Hey, listen,
Hey,
I know it doesn't count, but you can race cruiser.
hey, I can't even touch the Evel Knievel getup you were wearing at Frogtown. That's badass. I'm gonna just be cheering for all my bros from the sideline, and it'll be cool. Anyway, well, cool,
Well-
man. Thank you again, guys. This is cool. It's awesome, and thanks to everybody listening. And you guys got to keep doing what you're doing because it's so cool. It's really cool.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Greg.
Dylan,
What a lot of fun.
Thanks so much, dude. It's our honor to have you on, man. You're
Thank you, man. I appreciate
one of
it.
the icons of the sport, man. And for me,
I
growing up,
appreciate it.
watching you and seeing your seriousness and your focus, it was really it played a big part in my racing
Thank you, man.
because it taught me goal setting, and I wanted to do the type of things that you did. So it's super
Thank
cool
you.
to have you on the show, man. To
I
talk.
appreciate that very much. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, brother.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Greg.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, Greg. I tell you what, people aren't going to turn it off in the middle of that because that was like, he was going. He was like,
He was, yeah.
there was a fucking.
He
he was
touched a nerve
going-
on him right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude.
No, nobody's turning that shit off. Like in the middle of that.
He said, I went to the same gym he did so I could talk to the same people that were giving him that shit.
Nobody's flicking that shit off during that.
Hey, Dirty Knobs, we're asking you, our friends, to make a donation on behalf of John Cruz to the Davis Finney Foundation, and that can be done at davisfinneyfoundation.org. That's DAVISPHINNEY foundation.org. Listen, your gift makes a difference, and together we're helping people live better and building healthier Parkinson's communities. So listen, on behalf of John Cruz and the three of us here at the Dirty Knobs, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one, you bunch of dirty knobs. I'm going to send a box out to somebody who subscribes. So please do that. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Comment if you have anything to say. We'd love to hear it. And we will be back out here in 2 weeks with another one. And thanks to our sponsors. Speaking of which, we are going to read some commercials to you now. Thanks for showing our sponsors the love because they're showing it to us. Thanks again, and we'll catch up to you soon. And then sing it out right now.
All right, coming live and direct from the Colt Clubhouse in Santa Ana, California. Come on down and get all your BMX needs. We're giving away free air for your tires. That's all I got, brother.
That's great. That's great. All right. Now.
It's perfect.
Perfect.
Kinda, designed for your journey. On the road, on the trail, or on the racetrack, you can count on Kinda quality. Our tires are engineered for performance and value across a wide range of interest and applications. See why Kinda is the right choice. It's your move.
Imagine how bikes can lead to a healthier, more connected world. Bikes set us apart, free to explore and move and experience our relationships with people and places like nothing else can. At Ceres, we don't just imagine a more bikeable world. We're all in, making it happen.
As our Sun Tour shares your passion of cycling, we are committed to giving you the highest level of service in the industry, along with products that hopefully will exceed your expectations. Serving riders is the cornerstone of our business, and we pride ourselves in doing it.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Velocity Bike Park is the premier bike park for riders in Southern California, with 25 miles of world-class trails, obstacles, flow track, and races for mountain biking, gravel, and BMX.
Ultramax ball bearing grease. This grease is specially designed for loose balls. Or if you've got dry balls, squeaky balls, or your balls are all worn out, we know what you're going through. Ultramax. Remember, not available where shotguns and tampons are sold, but you can still get an Ultramax t-shirt at dirtyknobs.com.
ABC, the American BMX Company, bringing you brands like Race Inc., Cook Brothers, Botima, Box, Kuwahara, and BMX Action. Check them out at abmxc.com. ODI Grips, the world leader in grip technology, home of the lock-on grip system. Check them out over at www.odigrips.com. 4416 Designs commercial, take one.
There you go. All right, 4416 Designs. We make shirts, but we don't sell them. We're just giving back to the sport. If you're out at Ukaipa BMX and you need a shirt, hit me up. I'll hook you up with one.
Yeah, I love that. Mega Design Group is a full-service marketing firm. They handle everything from logos to advertising to packaging. Having over 25 years experience in the print and marketing fields, they can handle any hurdle. Check it out at megadesigngroup.com. Cool Stop Brake Pads. High-performance bicycle brake pads since 1977. Check them out at coolstop.com. That's KOOLSTOP.com. Supercross BMX. What can we say? Our lives revolve around BMX. Founded in 1989 to build the ultimate BMX race frame, they've never strayed from that vision. Hey, for more details, check it out at supercrossbmx.com. Amy Grips is dedicated to using all of its manufacturing strengths, including engineering, research, and development, to successfully prepare for future growth while demanding that the quality of its products provide consumers with complete satisfaction. Making grips since 1974. Check them out at amegrips.com.
If you have a Senna cycling helmet, you know what it's like to ride connected. Senna got their start in communications for the motorcycling industry, where they're now a leader. Senna brought their same tech that goes into those helmet-to-helmet motorcycle communication systems into cycling helmets. Senna bike helmets have an integrated microphone and 2 speakers hidden right into the shell. Senna helmets connect together on a mesh or Bluetooth network so you can talk to your friends while you ride without shouting over wind noise, even if you're not side by side. That is super cool, especially in the trails. Senna helmets also pair with smartphones, so you can listen to your playlist without blocking out ambient noise, and you can take phone calls and even hear turn-by-turn GPS directions.
Hey, support the podcasts that support us, our friends. The fine folks over there at All Things BMX, which is our favorite Wednesday night live podcast, as you know. Our buddies over there at Beer Budget BMX, Big Bike BMX, and BMX Weekly. Check them out. Check them out. Our friends. Keep it dirty.
Holy moly, dude.
You all right?
Yeah, that was a long piss. Felt good though. Wow. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Hey. Look at Hollywood. He loves it.
Dude,
He
I
lo-
did.
Look how
I
much-
didn't expect it. That was pretty good. I
Well-
didn't expect the steroid thing.
But
No, I didn't think he was gonna go.
When he said cheater, from that point on,
I saw
could
your
think about
eyes.
that. All I could think about was,
Yeah.
Go back. When you watch the video back, watch your screen when he says that guy's a cheater. Watch your
Yeah.
screen. You go like this. I know, pretty
Damn.
gnarly, right?
yeah. All right.
Yeah, we got to talk to him about that.
Now what?
Oh, you got to take a shit?
Now what? Where'd he go? Oh, you know what?
Where's
Product.
he
Maybe
going?
some product for his hair.
Is he gonna get a jersey?
Oh,
Another beer, just in case. That's backup. That's
was-
just in case.
Wait, hold on. Let me ask.
Just in case something
Didn't you
happens.
start with? Don't you have 2 already?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's my boy.
That's like just in case. Hold on 1 minute. I gotta. Hold on.
just in case.
It's a good call.
Look, I'm gonna put them together in my ice chest.
Okay.
See this?
What is
I cut my finger wrapped up in a piece of t-shirt.
Oh my god.
I
gotta be
got
a
blood
better way
all over
than
my
that.
desk. All my my little mouse pads covered with blood.
What did you do?
I cut
Yeah.
my finger putting up Christmas lights yesterday,
Oh my gosh.
and no, this afternoon. And I had a Band-Aid with stuff on it, and dude, it just opened up again. It's bled all over.
See?
See, but you know what that doesn't have?
Hmm.
Performance enhancing drugs.
That's exactly what it doesn't have.
Hey, so do I leave in
He
the
loves
Hans
it,
the Hans
JV.
Jobé?
He JV,
that.
he loves
You
it.
gotta leave that. Yeah. You gotta leave Hans Jobé. That was
I
good.
think so too.
Hans
You know,
Jobé.
we were in Bercy, and this European racer came up to me and
That was
offered
awesome.
me something too.
Hans Jobé.
Yeah.
Mighty Mo posted on his way to the Grands that he made history. And that he tripled at the Grands.
Oh.
He was the first one to do that, 30 years. I don't know if anybody did it before me, but I know I did it in 86.
Yeah.
He won, I think he won open, cruiser, and class. I won open, class, and trophy dash. I beat Charles. I beat Charles in the trophy dash.
Wow.
You did
I
it
was-
with one piece cranks too.
I was 16, he was 17. Charles was 17.
Hey,
I
you know
think
what though?
Charles-
Cruisers don't count.
Cruisers don't count. Exactly. That's not a triple. He
You
didn't
know-
go-
Eddie said that
Yeah,
on
Yep.
another podcast recently.
yeah.
Enter the network security key. Is that the password?
That's your password.
That's your password.
It's Hollywood's Big Dong is your password. Remember?
Mike changed it.
Oh, dude. Speaking of which, I got a birthday present from my son, oldest.
Mm.
Yeah.
You
Right.
see it?
I didn't see him. What is it?
Look, my socks.
That's horrible. Do you want to allow this PC to be discoverable by other PCs devices on this network? So let me pull up my email.
Pull it.
I'm pulling.
Pull like a
Hans.
Hans.
Come on, Hans Jobé, pull it.
Come on, Hans. Pull it, baby.
As our friend Hans Jobé would say, pull it.
Pulling, dude. He pulls down the first straight.
Make it pull.
And make it pull.
He might blow the gate. He blows the gate, but he can pull down the first straight. After Greg saying what he did, after Greg dropped the bombshell, certainly the most controversial show we've ever had. But it was important that we talked to, I wanted to make sure that we came back and told everyone, we reiterate, we tell everyone again, hey man, we never talked to our guests before the show. We made a point of it. Oftentimes when I'm talking to them, I know EC does the same thing. When we talk to them in advance, we'll interrupt them. No. We don't want to talk now. Because guys will start launching into stories.
Yeah.
Just when you call them to say, hey, we're going to do this at 6 o'clock. Oh, 6 o'clock. That one time I had this rental car. I was like, no. We don't do it now. We only do it on the show.
Right.
So we did not know, and we did not control, nor do we have any idea what actually is going to be talked about. We might have notes about stuff that we bring up. Well, JV and I have notes.
Yeah. It's in your head. It's in EC's head.
I got it. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. I got it.
I like what he says. He just has to throw a little dirt on the tires and he's ready to go.
That's right.
I love that saying. But anyway, you guys agree that we just how'd you put it? How do we just free range? No,
we freestyle.
A little free ball on it.
Yeah, free ball it. We freestyle, we free range.
Free ball too.
Yeah, we free ball, free range, freestyle. We just let her rip.
Yeah.
And so when it happened, we all three made the big wide-eyed face when Greg brought up steroids. So we immediately after the show, we talked. The next morning, the three of us talked. And then we decided the best course of action for us. I mean, we contemplated cutting it all out, beeping Pete's name. But we all agreed that the best thing to do was, hey, listen, we don't do it to anyone else's stories. If it's an entertaining story, we put it out there. So we decided just to let her go. But in all fairness, we also decided to reach out to Pete, to give him the opportunity to let him know it was going to happen and to give him the opportunity to talk. And through a couple calls and a text, Pete reached back out to me and the conversation went just like this. Pete, Greg was our last guest, and Pete started laughing. And I said to Pete that he brought up the subject of steroids and he used Pete's name. And I gave Pete the option to come on before this episode was released to give his side, to say whatever he wanted to say. And I asked him about 15 times, just say yes, Pete. Will you say yes? Will you come on? Will you just say yes that you'll come on? And he wasn't able to say yes. He wasn't able to commit to it. He said he would think about it and get back to me. Well, it's getting close to the time to the show. So I wanted to quickly put this together and put it on the tail end of our episode with the three of us, saying that, hey, Pete, we hope that you'll come on, and we want you to come on before the next episode so that we can give you the opportunity to say whatever you want to say. Fellas, is there anything you want to add to that?
For me, yeah. I mean, I think when something of this nature comes up, in a topic like this that comes up, I think there's two sides to every story. And so, I would love to hear Pete's side of it. I'd love for Pete to come on and discuss this and, like you said, say whatever he feels he needs
to say about this, whether it's confirming, denying, whatever. We only have one side of the story. So I think, I think it would be good to hear the other side of the story. And like you, Mike, I hope that Pete takes the opportunity to do it sooner than later. I think it's good that he's taking time to think about what he wants to say and what he needs to say. I mean, look, there's been speculation about it, not just with Pete. There's been speculation with a lot of AA pros from back in that time, right? So
Yeah.
It's not just Pete, that the names of people that were flying around.
And JV did right by asking the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He wasn't,
There
you know, he wasn't the only one. Who else?
It's not the only one. There were other pros that were doing it. I think
Well,
when it comes, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, EC.
I think there was other pros that we heard that were doing it, right? Because I mean, I don't know about you, JV or Mike. I never saw anybody ingesting that, and nobody ever told me that they were ingesting that, injecting it, whatever you do with it. So I don't have firsthand evidence that that happened with any. Now, I mean, dude, I got accused of it. I had a guy accuse me through a friend that I was doing steroids when I was 17 because I started getting fast. I mean, it was a hot topic at that time, and so if anybody was going fast at that time, there was like, man, I wonder if, oh man, he's getting big. I wonder if. So, I think it'll be interesting to see what Pete has to say. I'm really curious to hear what he has to say. I think it would be. Go ahead.
I think you bring a good point. I mean, there's a lot of talk. There's always been a lot of talk. You may have never, you may not have seen it, right? But it's an opportunity. Mike has been able to try and reach out to Pete to give the opportunity to say the side, and that's what we're, and we talked about it yesterday. I mean, and for the listeners that don't understand, I mean, this thing was like a bomb went off, and we're trying to like figure out what do we do with this. This is information that we have to try and figure out. How do we play this thing? And I think, and when we came down to the perspective of it, it's we didn't bring it up. It was said from a guest, and we give the opportunity for the person that is being accused, I guess you can call it, to come up and say something, and we give that platform. That's part of what we do, and at the end of the day, hopefully it's just seen as something that came up on our show from a guest. I mean, we're not trying to cause controversy. I think that's the big thing that we were afraid of. It's like, that's not what we're trying to do, is like cause a fight. That's not what we're doing.
Right. Well, like Mike said, when we started this podcast, part of our mantra, if you will, was that we were going to try to tell stories of things that were talked about in the pits.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and some of the stuff that maybe some of the people that weren't in the know, that weren't in the factory pits, etc. Some of the stuff they didn't have access to. Some of the stuff the stories they didn't hear. Right. And that's part of our stuff. 98% of what we do is telling funny stories and rental car stories and things like that. This story happens to be a little bit more serious, and a more serious topic about what happened in back in the day, and so it'll be it. Dude, this is gnarly. I mean, it's going to be, and I wonder. Here's the thing, JB, and you too, Mike. I wonder if because we were living in that moment, right, and we were privy to some of the discussions and some of the behind the scenes whisperings that we would hear, is like, oh, this guy's on it. Oh my gosh, well, this guy is too. I can't believe, who is this guy to say that? Because this guy, I heard he was doing it too. And it's like, you hear all this stuff, right? But I wonder if it's gnarly to us because it was happening when it was our time.
Right.
And I wonder if some of the, some of our new school followers are going to go, I can't believe this is even, they're making such a big deal out of it. So right. I'm interested to hear what our feedback is going to be and what our full range of followers, what their take is on it. And I think it'd be great to get Pete on as well and have him talk about it as well. So,
well, from our point of view, we're just neutral.
Mm-hmm.
We just have a podcast and we don't tell the guests what to say or not to say. And
right.
we free range, freestyle, and free ball. And that's it.
Yeah.
So based on all that, thank you for listening. Please subscribe. Please buy a t-shirt. And thank you. We love you, our brothers and sisters in BMX.